It's midday in Banjul. Hello and welcome to Skypower Radio and Television Services. On the news review today, the 20th of September 2020, I am Isatou Laam and thank you very much for joining us. We will start with the news paper headlines shortly after the jingle. And to the foreign headlines this week, President Adama Barrow has assured Gambians that his led administration is committed to conducting of the 2021 general elections. The Gambia Committee on Traditional Practice Affecting the Health of Women and Children, GAMCOTRAP, on Wednesday launched its 10,000 face masks project designed to curtail the spread of COVID-19 in the Gambia. Over to the Point newspaper, the National Assembly member for Serekunda, Honorable Halifa Sallah, has expressed his dissatisfaction over the National Assembly's action of not allowing access to some journalists to cover the tabling of the draft constitution, saying the act could put the integrity of the parliament at stake. The NCAC partners with United Nations Gambia to promote Gambian arts and culture. And over to the Standard newspaper, the CEO of a Vision Development Foundation, Momodou Touro Dabo, yesterday directed his charity to present 100,000 to officers of the Immigration Department working in the border areas in the current pandemic operation to purchase fuel for their vehicles. Mao Jete, a retired ACRIC staff and former APRC councillor for Saba Ward in Lower Badibo, died in a road accident at Kerewan after being knocked by a passenger vehicle. And over to the Chronicles, the ECOWAS mission in the Gambia has sent home 2 Senegalese military personnel following their arrest this week by the Police Intervention Unit of the Gambia for violating the curfew regulation that was imposed to control the spread of coronavirus. The duo was initially held at the police headquarters in the Gambia. This And now the news in details. President Adama Barrow has assured Gambians that his led administration is committed to conducting of the 2021 general elections. He said this while speaking on Thursday at the State of the Nation Address 2020 at the National Assembly in Banjul. He said, and I quote, "I assure all Gambians that my government is determined that the general election will be conducted in 2021 as scheduled. My conviction is that whatever our position or belief may be, we should always consider to national interest and forego selfishness." President Adama Barrow continued to say, and I quote, he said, "For the collective safety and survival, let us redefine our roles and development paths against the realities of the time. Barrow said despite this dim picture, they will not be distracted, nor shall they relent, while adding that the pandemic would rather undermine their vision, nor bar them from directing their energies and resources for the development and welfare of the Gambian citizens. President Barrow further said they cannot allow their attention and energy to be diverted to issues that have no cultural emphasis. Barrow said through that I cannot predict how the pandemic will evolve. He continued to say, and I quote, the indication is that we are in health, economic, and social crisis that will linger on into the future and situation that we may have to live with. Barrow also encouraged Gambians to remain calm, focused for transforming our fears and faith into strength. Meanwhile, President Barrow reiterated his appreciation and gratitude to the CRC. Moving on to the Point newspaper, the Gambia Committee on Tradition Practice Affecting the Health of Women and Children, GAMCOTRAP, on Wednesday launched its 10,000 face masks project designed to curtail the spread of COVID-19 in the Gambia. The face masks will be distributed to children across the country in collaboration with the SCI the Cisco project to support government efforts in the fight against COVID-19. Bintu HK Fati, Director at Department of Children Affairs, Ministry of Women, Children and Social Welfare in deputizing for her minister, said with the recent surge of the pandemic across the world, children continue to bear the brunt with schools being closed. She welcomed GAMCOTRAP's initiative to save children from the impact of the COVID-19. She said, and I quote, without urgent action, this health crisis will become a child right crisis, while causing disruption to society with heavy impact on children's safety, well-being, and on their overall future, she highlighted. Musaba, Deputy Kanifing Municipal Council Mayor, commended GAMCOTRAP for their foresight in catering for children who are future leaders. Princess A. Muadhot, Executive Director of GAMCOTRAP, said usually when a pandemic and other crises occur, the most vulnerable are most affected, with a tendency that children are overlooked. She explained that children globally risk being infected through society, community, and through to their parents, adding that the impact of the pandemic is expected to be more damaging to children in poorest communities. She further stated that research has shown that wearing a face mask limits infection, promising that they will distribute more face masks in future to ensure that the government and other CEOs for their efforts in protecting women and children from the virus. Usman Toure, board member of GAMCOTRAP, described the project as a noble cause and thank for the National Assembly member for Serekunda, Honorable Halifa Saleh, has expressed his dissatisfaction over the National Assembly's action of not allowing access to some journalists to cover the tabling of the draft constitution, saying the act could put the integrity of the parliament at stake. Scores of journalists traveled to the chambers in Banjul over to be told that only the national broadcaster GRTS and two other private media houses, QTV and iAfrica TV, were allowed entry to the house for proceedings. The veteran Serekunda lawmaker who walked into the chambers late due to his effort to help the journalists said it was not proper rather for journalists to be denied access to the chambers to do their job. Honorable Speaker, he said, and I quote, the reason I even entered just now is because outside we have journalists claiming that the National Assembly has discriminated them by giving a right to concerned media houses to cover the session of the National Assembly, especially the state media, and then discriminate against the private media. Speaker, the National Human Rights Commission is established precisely to eradicate violations of fundamental rights, and we should not allow this National Assembly to be associated with any history that will show that we are discriminating anyone. So on a to annul a way to allow those media houses outside the gate to come in, and we place them wherever they should in order to be able to observe the distancing that is necessary, he said. The speaker, however, acknowledged Honorable Salah's concern, but claimed it would be for him to force her to. Still on the Point newspaper, members of the National Livestock Owners Association and dealers over the weekend converged at a press conference at their main office in Birkama, where they appealed to government to consider the plight of farmers and reopen the 29 lumos within the country. Momodu Sow, NALOA Secretary General, highlighted the negative impact the deadly pandemic has caused livestock dealers, saying the closure of lumos is now getting to 5 months. According to him, the closure of the lumos have greatly affected livestock farmers with regards to animal dealing or exchange of goods for animals and other income generations through lumos. He expressed their willingness to maintain the meat and milk tariff to help consumers have access to such products. He said, and I quote, needs to that without lumos, the main market business. He pointed out that if the country's youth are supported, we can produce for our demand and by extension export to other countries. Lamin Dabo, Secretary General, Livestock Dealers Association, observed that government has relaxed restriction on other markets but still remain its stand on the closure of the lumos. He highlighted that among the 29 lumos, only 3 are operational, which are within the Greater Banjul area. Ibrahim Ojalo, president of the NALOA, said the closure of the lumos has caused a negative impact on the entire agricultural livestock value chain. He therefore appealed to the government to consider the plight of farmers and reopen lumos across the country as the survival depends on it. COVID-19 has caused devastation effect on our economic and the livestock is no exceptional, he concluded. It's few minutes gone past the hour of 12 midday here in our studio clock. Over now to the Standard newspaper. The CEO of the Vision Development Foundation, Mamadou Turo Dabo, yesterday directed his charity to present 100,000 to officers of the Immigration Department working in the border areas in the current pandemic operation to purchase fuel for their vehicles. He also gave them 100 bags of rice and 1,000 professional face masks and also 100 bags of sugar in 10 kilograms. According to Dr. Dabo, represented by his PRO Sekou Fofana, The move is designed to support the immigration officers who are tirelessly patrolling the borders to control and enforce the COVID-19 emergency regulations in the fight to prevent the spread of the virus. He said the VDF has a long tradition of supporting the security service in the country, adding that the foundation is hopeful that the intervention will have a great impact on the condition of the officers. He challenged the immigration department to judiciously use the materials to everyone's satisfaction. Commissioner Usman Low of the Immigration Finance Department received the items assisted by the Commissioner Ahmed Fall, responsible for neutralization. They both thanked Momodu Turo Dabo and his foundation and promised to deliver the items to the intended targets. Mau Jaite, a retired ACRIC staff, former APRC councillor for Saba Ward in Lower Badibu, died in a road accident at Kerawan after being knocked by a passenger vehicle, the Standard has been reliably informed. According to the source of the Standard newspaper, Jaite, who was also as a justice of peace, was in Kerawan helping neutralizing attestation for people applying for national documents. An eyewitness, Basiru Jawara, said Mau had finished work for the day and was about to go back to his native Gunjur on his motorbike when a car coming from Farafenye knocked him down. He was taken to a Kerawan Health Center where he was referred to Farafenye, but he died before they could get to Farafenye Hospital. According to Mr. Jawara, a post-mortem was carried out witnessed by police and immigration officers at the governor's before being released to the family for burial at 10 a.m. Our source appealed to the authorities to post traffic police in the area permanently or put a placed anti-speed bomb on the roads. And over to the Chronicles, the Gambia has sent home two Senegalese military personnel following their arrest this week by the police intervention unit of the Gambia for violating the curfew regulation that was imposed to control the spread of coronavirus. The duo was initially held at the police headquarters in Banjul. The incident has generated a lot of publications in the Gambia media as well as social media, leading to the reaction of the mission. In order to send a strong message to all ECOMIC personnel and to ensure that no personnel goes against any of these regulations, the two Senegalese soldiers involved have been immediately repatriated to their country. Further disciplinary action is expected to be taken against them upon their arrival back home. The statement signed by the mission spokesperson, Commander Andila Aini, stated on Saturday. Well, ECOMIC equivocally condemns the conduct by its personnel. The statement added that aside its mandate, ECOMIC has a standing operating procedures which guides the conduct of every personnel. In addition to restrict disciplinary measures instituted, all ECOMIC troops are constantly advised to abide by all the laws of the Gambia, which include regulations like curfew and other COVID-19 protocols, among others. It is therefore inappropriate for any of the ECOMIC personnel to go contrary to these regulations. The mission asserts the Gambia population that it will at all the time respect all laws of the country and would not shield any of its personnel who violates them. He said, and I quote, "We will also continue to work closely with the security agencies to ensure a safe and secure environment to enable the citizens go about their personal activities in peace." The Gambia imposed a consecutive 21 days a nightly curfew from August, which ended last Thursday, restrictions and movement of people from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. And finally, on the stories today, dozens of discriminatory gender laws should be repealed or reversed in the Gambia to guarantee equal rights for women and girls within the legal framework. It's the conclusion contained in a report jointly produced by the government of the Gambia and Commonwealth Secretariat and United Nations Women reveals several discriminatory laws and loops which institutionalize discrimination against women. The report recommends amendment 19 laws and repealing 10 in whole or in part. It also proposed enacting 2 new laws to ensure the Gambia's legislative framework meets its international obligation on gender equality. The Justice Minister of the Government of the Gambia has subscribed to the conclusion of the report and agreed to work on to end discrimination in the legislation. This does it for this news edition, and to end the news, the recap of the headline stories that makes the news this week. To end the news, the recap of the stories that make the headlines this week. President Adama Barrow has assured Gambians that his led administration is committed to the conducting of the 2021 general elections. The Gambia Committee on Traditional Practice Affecting the Health of Women and Children, GAMCOTRAP, on Wednesday launched its 10,000 face masks project designed to curtail the spread of COVID-19 in the Gambia. The National Assembly member for Sarekunda, Honorable Halifa Sallah, has expressed his dissatisfaction over the National Assembly's action of not allowing access to some journalists to cover the tabling of the draft constitution, saying the act could put the integrity of the parliament at stake. The Economic Commission in the Gambia has sent home 2 Senegalese military personnel following their arrest this week by the Police Intervention Unit of the Gambia for violating the curfew regulation that was imposed to control the spread of coronavirus. The duo was initially held at the police headquarters in Banjul. That does it for this news review edition. Until we come your way next weekend, do stay tuned with us for the rest of our programs. Goodbye.
Mono